The slip bag will challenge your technical discipline and hold you to an aggressive pace. You've practiced all of your techniques in isolation, your stance, your footwork, and your head movement. Now it's time to put them to the test and see if they're up to snuff for when you fight. I feel that the slip rope and the slip bag are the greatest pieces of solo training equipment you can use in your early boxing development. The slip bag here holds you to a consistent cadence, a consistent pace and rhythm. You're not on your time, you're on the bag's time. And it doesn't care if you're out of position or if you're off balance or if you're not ready, it's swinging through and it forces you to have accountability. Not only that, it gives you feedback when you make mistakes. You don't need a coach there telling you that you slipped incorrectly. This thing will whack you right in the head, and that's all the coaching you need. Some technical notes to get you started using this piece of equipment. When setting the height of your bag, it should be set to chin level when you're in your fight stance. When the bag is swinging head on to you, you want to think about those swings like straight punches, 1s and 2s. When the bag is swinging side on to you, you want to think about those swings like hooks, 3s and 4s. If you stand directly under the origin of the bag, that's going to give you the most consistent rhythm and the most consistent swing. This is a rhythm game after all. You shouldn't be looking at the bag, you should be anticipating its rhythm and proactively defending as it swings through. If you stand side onto the bag, you're going to get a choppier, less consistent rhythm that's harder to find time for your techniques in between swings. The easiest way to begin on the bag is to give it a push so that it's swinging side on to you, left to right, right to left. And then you're going to treat this like a playground game of double dutch, where you're going to wait for your moment, you're going to read the rhythm, and then you're going to step in. Once you step in, if you're imagining that these side-on swings are hooks, you're going to be ducking and rolling to protect yourself. It's important to remember that with all defensive movements, the bag should barely miss you. It shouldn't be missing by a mile, it should be missing by an inch. So in a real fight, you're in a position to be able to counter your opponent, to be able to switch over, to build some offensive momentum. If you're struggling with this, you can always use a mirror to help give you some feedback. When looking to change positions on the bag and going from side-on swings to head-on swings so that you can practice defending straight punches, you're gonna need to take an angle. If when side onto the bag, you're imagining these swings as hooks, if somebody's throwing hooks on you, your best bet for taking an angle is to drop step to that position. So change levels as you take your 2 steps and pull yourself to that 90-degree angle where now you can deal with straight punches. Once we've drop step to an angle, now we're head on to the bag. This means that there are going to be moments where the bag is behind you. If the bag's behind you, you don't need to look at it, just trust the rhythm, just like when you were side onto the bag. When you were side onto the bag, you shouldn't be looking left and right, and when you're head onto the bag, you shouldn't be trying to look behind you to see that coming. Trust the rhythm, trust your instincts. Because these head-on swings now represent 1s and 2s, our defenses are going to be ducking and slipping. And if we want to return to where this bag is swinging side on to us, if somebody's giving me a straight punch, I'm going to slip to that angle. I get my head offline with my first step, and I pull myself 90 degrees into that new position. This gives us 9 basic techniques that we can execute on the slip bag. These include slipping open and closed, rolling open and closed, slipping to our open side and closed side angles, drop stepping to our open side and closed side angles, and no matter what position we're on the bag, we can always duck. Defense and footwork are all well and good, but they're meant to be a means to an end. All of this defense and footwork should set up moments of offense, and the best place to start is with your jab. The jab is a quick, probing, non-committal shot. It has no leg or hip on it, so it's the perfect introduction as we put some offense in here. So what you're going to do is you're going to look for a jab in between all of these defensive movements. It's important that this jab is landing as your second foot lands when you're taking angles, or this jab is landing as you return to stance from doing something defensive. If you try to jab after defending, returning, and then jabbing, you're not going to have enough time in between these swings to do so. If you've learned something new in this video so far, please hit the like button, share so that I can grow my channel and get this information to other people. The jab is good, but it's not designed to be a knockout punch. If you feel like you've mastered finding the jab with consistency in between these defensive movements, it's time to put something more damaging in there. Practice throwing hard sixes, hard threes, hard twos, and actually getting something that you have to be committed to with your hip and your leg in between these defenses. That's going to make this feel a lot more like you're in an exchange in a real fight situation. These are the fundamentals that must be mastered with a perfectionist mindset, but there are a wide variety of other drills that you can do on the slip bag and other techniques that can be practiced here. One of the coolest things about the slip bag is you don't need something fancy like this to be able to practice all of these techniques. When I was in college, I literally had a tennis ball on a string that I duct taped to my dorm room ceiling where I'd practice. I've seen people tie water bottles to the end of shoelaces to practice. All you need is something that swings at a consistent rhythm that is roughly fist or head sized for you to practice getting out of the way of. There are no excuses here, and you need to take extreme accountability for finding time to get your reps in and drill out these techniques. Joe Frazier says that the most important piece of equipment for a developing fighter is the speed bag, and his argument is because it teaches rhythm. I'd argue that the slip bag trains rhythm and timing in a more sport-specific way, and that elevates it above pieces of equipment like the speed bag or the jump rope. Over the years, I've spent thousands of hours on the slip bag, and it has given me great muscle memory and great habits for when I fight. If you give it the focus and respect it deserves and you get your reps in, then it will undeniably bring you success too when you fight.